Hi everybody, welcome to the Spanish 2 Quarterly Review. You will have your quarterly speaking exam on October 24th and October 27th, so it is very important that you watch this video before the exam. Our topics for the exam are ir plus a plus infinitive, gustar plus noun, gustar plus verb, question words, ser and estar with adjectives and places, stem changing verbs, regular present tense. We're going to start with a quick review of ir plus a plus infinitive. First, you have to consider what is an infinitive. An infinitive is an unconjugated verb, which is a fancy way to say that the verb ends in AR, ER, or IR, and it does not have a subject. Ir plus a plus infinitive simply means that you are going to go do something. The infinitive is the verb. So, in the example, yo voy a bailar, I am going to dance. Yo voy is I am going, and then a bailar is to dance. Now, ir is irregular here. As we can see from our notes, it is voy, vas, va, vamos, van, and then you add a and the infinitive. Next, we have gustar. Now, the different pronouns for gustar that we learned are me, te, le, nos, and les. Depending on the person that likes the thing, you will select a different pronoun. So, for example, in the sentence, me gusta el chocolate, here I'm saying chocolate is enjoyable to me. Or in English, how we would say it is, I like chocolate. So, if I wanted to say I would use me. If we go back, if you want to say you like chocolate, you would say te gusta el chocolate. He or she likes chocolate. Le gusta el chocolate. We like chocolate. Nos gusta el chocolate. And les gusta el chocolate would be the ellos form. They like it. So right now think to yourself, how would you say you like chocolate? Say it to yourself right now and I'll pause. So you should have said, nos gusta el chocolate. Now after we know our pronouns, it's important to see how gustar works differently with nouns. We could have gustar with a singular noun and a plural noun, and we're going to work with it differently in each case. Gustar with a singular noun, such as in the sentence, me gusta el chocolate, is going to use gusta, okay? Gusta. So, I like pizza. Me gusta la pizza. Pizza and chocolate are single entities, so they're going to get gusta. Now, on the other hand, gustan is when your object is plural. Well, technically it's your subject because we're working backwards in Spanish, but I won't go into that just yet. But I like chocolates. If your liking noun here is actually plural, you're going to add an N there. So right now to yourself, I want you to see if you can figure out if it's gusta or gustan. If I want to say I like the computer, which one would you pick? You should have said gusta. Nice. Now what about I like the teacher? The answer to that is gusta as well, because it's singular. Now what about if I said I like my friends? Now that should have been gustan, because friends are plural. Now, with the verb gustar is a little different. you're not going to have this distinction here that we have with gusta and gustan. No, it's only gusta. So if you have an infinitive, you're going to put it right after gusta, and you add your pronoun, and then you have your full sentence. Me gusta bailar. I like to dance. What if you want to say, I like to talk? Think about that for a second. You should have said, me gusta hablar. Okay? So, with a noun, you have to distinguish between singular and plural, but with a verb, you don't have to. Now, also on your quarterly, you're going to have a question said to you by me. Now, those questions are obviously going to include question words. So it's very important that you know and understand your question words, because I will not be able to translate any of these questions for you. For example, if your question is, ¿Cuándo te duermes por la noche? When do you fall asleep at night? And you said, en mi cama, in my bed. Let's think about that for a second. I asked you, when do you fall asleep? Not, where do you fall asleep? Because cama is a bed. So if you see there, you didn't actually answer the question. That question would not receive full credit because you did not understand the question word. So I'm not going to go into activities with this in our review session, but please be aware that you need to know what these question words mean. Next we have ser and estar. Ser and estar are both ways to say to be in Spanish. Now there's a difference though between them. Ser is based on the essence of something. I am a girl. I am a boy. Things that don't necessarily change. Estar, on the other hand, is more condition. I am tired or I am sick. Our conjugations of ser are irregular, so you do have to memorize them, and we did that in the beginning of the year. They are soy, eres, es, somos, and son. Yo form, tú form, él, ella, usted, nosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. Estar is also irregular. Estoy, estás, está, estamos, están. Again, the same order. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. Now, when do we use ser? It's a little acronym that we do, and it's called doctor. Remember, ser is about essence. Okay? All of these things are relatively permanent, unchangeable things that really define a noun. So, if we think of the word doctor, all we have to do is just fill in the blanks. Description, occupation, characteristics, time, origin, relationship. Now, note, description and characteristics, these are essential descriptions of people. They are not temporary things like emotions or something that is not necessarily a permanent entity. Okay? Well, what about these temporary things, these conditional things? Well, for estar, we have the word place. And that boils down to position, location, ando, yendo, conditions, and emotions. Now, position and location are like, I am sitting down. I am in a classroom. Ando, yendo, what that means is it's essentially the way in Spanish to say ing, ing. That ending, I am running. Okay? When you say I am running, you're including a word to be. Estar is also the word to be, so we're going to use estar there as opposed to ser. Conditions and emotions are things like I am sick, like a condition, or I am sad, an emotion. Now, something that's important to know is if you say to somebody, I am a sad person, like I'm never happy, for example, we have to think now, is this their permanent characteristic? Yo soy triste. They're a very sad person. As opposed to, yo estoy triste. I am sad right now, and I might be happy tomorrow. So, ser and estar, essentially, they both mean to be. Ser you use with these contexts, and estar you use with these. If you want more examples of the doctor analogy or the place analogy, you can go to this website, and it'll give you just some sentences to look at, and if you needed a little more context, it will go into a little bit more detail. Okay, ser and estar. If you're saying things with ser and estar, you know, you're obviously describing something here. I am sad. I am happy. Yo estoy feliz. Yo estoy triste. Okay? But a lot of times we have nouns and adjectives. In English, they don't really mean much. The adjective can go with any noun and it will not change. In Spanish, your adjectives change with nouns based on their gender or their number. So for example, el carro rojo. Carro is your noun that is masculine, so rojo, your adjective, has to match it. Whereas in Spanish, you could have masculine or feminine. Notice here we have a masculine and we have a feminine, but what's that S there? That S just signifies plural. So that's where the gender and the number comes in. You can say something masculine and singular, el carro rojo, and as long as your adjective matches, it's okay. You can say las casas rojas. You have a feminine plural thing. You just have to make sure your noun matches it. These articles signify singular. These articles signify plurals. Another thing you'd like to add here is you can have an A or an O as your singular, or you can have an S. Some other singulars end with an E or a Z. Those do not match their noun. So for example, the word feliz would not become felisa if you're talking about a girl. It would stay the same. Same thing with a word like alegre. It ends with an E. It would stay the same for the most part. So really, if they end with an N, a Z, or an E, they're not going to match the noun. They're going to stay as they are. Regular verbs. Comer, bailar, escribir. These are just regular verbs, regular conjugations. We did this in 7th grade, I'm sure. So these are your endings for regular verbs, and you're expected to know these for your quarterly. Okay? Cantar. To sing. Yo cantar, let's say. What we would do basically is we're going to go back to our endings here. We'll see what we need for AR. We take off the ending. We replace it. Boom. Cantar. It's regular verb. Okay, so then we're going to talk about stem changing verbs. Perder is a stem changing verb, but you might want to ask yourself which is a stem and, which vowel changes. Well, the stem is everything but the ending. To find the vowel that changes, you look at the last vowel, you go one back. Okay? If you go one back, that's the one you change. If you look at the verb perder, you're going to have this new stem, pierde. We add our endings like normal. It's an ER verb, so it's going to get the same endings here. But what happened here? Something weird happened. It's a boot verb. Okay? Boot verbs here, as you can see right here, in the nosotros form, it does not change the stem. Everything changed in the stem here except for nosotros. It went back to what the infinitive presented. Okay, that's very important. You still use your regular endings, ER, IR, or AR, and you just have to really memorize what verbs change to what. Which ones are O to UE, which ones are E to IE, which ones are E to I. You can use your reference for that. Okay, so that concludes our review session. You need your resources for this, so make sure you study, and good luck on the quarterly.